Hello everyone and welcome to this Total War Warhammer Information video. Now, something pretty big has happened today, and well, what that is a couple of weeks ago, CA invited a few big YouTubers and the media, the press, the internet bloggers of choice, people that make the online magazines and the hard physical copy magazines, that sort of thing, were all invited to come and try out the game. And today we got all their impressions, their embargo was lifted, and though there wasn't a lot of juicy information, one of the pieces of juicy information we got today that I just really have to talk about is dragons. Dragons now have a ranged attack. Now, I think I remember in the stream Dogbert saying they can use it 3 times or something, so it sounds like it might be an active ability, but then he was using it for whole battle, so then it doesn't sound like an activate ability, so I'm not really 100% sure how that ranged attack is going to work, but we know it is definitely going to be usable from the air, because Dogbert described using it with Terrorgeists. Now, I know they're not exactly dragons, but he says they've got the same mechanics, and they are known for a very powerful scream, which normally in the tabletop did more damage than actually the Terrorgeist did in melee. The scream was incredibly powerful, and dragons are going to be able to do the same. They're going to be able to use their breath attack or a scream attack in the case of the Terrorgeist whilst they're in the air, which I am super hyped to see. That's going to be so cool, and that's so thematic and cinematic. Just watching this big brutal melee going on, and you see this dragon swooping overhead. Like, oh, I just cannot wait to see that. Like, how devastating will this breath attack be? Will the dragon just be standing above them, just using the breath attack? Or will you be able to swoop over them and use the breath attack? I think if it can use it whilst moving, I'm definitely going to be micromanaging my dragon to be moving constantly over the top of the combat, just for this sort of cinematic dragon swooping in, breathing fire, swooping out, sort of like a fighter plane coming in, daka 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 daka, flying away. I think that is going to be so cool. That's what I was really hyped to see and talk about. There's been a couple of mods that do similar stuff, but at the end of the day, like, it being official and proper is always way cooler than using a mod. It's like it's a lot better polished. Now, I know you get mods that are really well polished and are sometimes better polished if it's a really good modder than base games, but it's just, there's something about it being the basic vanilla that just makes it feel more polished to me. I don't know what it is, I can't put my finger on it. But anyway, that is the little tiny bit that's not much information wise about today that I just spent ages talking about because I think it's really cool. The main piece of information that was released today is free-for-all battles. Now, I know a lot of people have been talking about this thinking, oh, are free-for-all battles a thing because of the cinematic trailer? And I was more on the side of like, well, it wasn't the trailer, but that's cinematic. I wouldn't go gung-ho saying it's confirmed or anything. Like, Karl Franz landed in the cinematic trailer of the first game, but that's not an option. It's like, So I'm like, I see why people are like thinking it's hyped and acting like it's great and that, but acting like it was confirmed, that was a bit like, not really. But it has now been confirmed, which is awesome if you love multiplayer battles. And actually, I'm not a multiplayer battle person. I don't think I've ever played a multiplayer battle in the Total War games. And according to CA, only about 5% of the player base actually actively play multiplayer battles. But I'm actually quite interested in this new free-for-all style battle. It's a lot less intimidating, it sounds a lot more fun, it sounds a lot more muck around than a 1v1 or a 2v2. The free-for-all battles work a bit like this. They've got their own unique maps. The maps are very highly sort of anti-balanced towards sitting in a corner. You're going to have terrible terrain, the hills and all the good terrain are going to be in the middle, and the exterior of the maps were going to be pretty poor in comparison. And so the maps are designed to draw you all towards the middle, so you each sort of start in the corner and are sort of drawn to the middle, and that's where most of the fighting is going to take place. And it is actually not the last person standing that wins. Quite often, the last person standing will lose because he's not got the full cost effectiveness out of all of his units because they're still alive. Like, that unit could have done more damage. It could have been damage until it's died, because the way you win is points. The more damage you do to your opponent, the more inflicting of pain you do to your opponent, the more points you're going to make. And there is other ways to get points, like being the last person alive does give you a small amount of points, completing this objective will give you a small amount of points, but the way to get 90% of your points is going to be killing your opponents, and it is always going to be 1v1 v1 v1, so there's always going to be 4 players, and the possibilities for mucking about sound incredible, because in a 1v1 or a 2v2, if you take an army that doesn't work against your opponent's army, you're absolutely screwed. But in this, if you take an army that doesn't work well against that guy, well, you've still got the other guys, you can avoid him and go after the other guys. They might try and get the other 2 to go after that guy that's not good against you. There's always going to be something you can do. Dogbert was even talking about a time he took all Terrorgeists and 2 units of zombies, because he said there's a new mechanic for if you've got only flying units left in the game, they're going to be forced to land, which to me sounds like landing is confirmed. You can land flying units, it sounds like, unless he just means engage in melee and then that's them landed. So it is not 100% confirmed, but to me it sounds like it might be. And what was so he took the 2 units of zombies, hid them in the woods, and let no one find them. Then for the rest of the game he just had the Terrorgeists running around using their breath attacks. Now he said he didn't win, but he said it was one of the most fun games he'd ever had, and people had their cavalry running around searching for his zombies, just because they wanted to force them to land. They also said in the stream that this is also a very approachable, way to play multiplayer battles. It's obviously only multiplayer battles because they've had to make the maps very sort of scripted. Well, obviously not scripted. That's the wrong word. They've had to make them very sort of designed towards focusing you towards the middle, and a lot of the terrain would have been very hard for the AI to manage, and so it's completely players only. But it's a lot more approachable from a sort of multiplayer standpoint, because I'm not a hugely competitive type of person, so I don't normally go to like these multiplayer battles, because they're just basically competitive. That's the point of them. They're to be competitive against another person. But these multiplayer battles for free-for-all, they've had people coming in and it was their second ever Total War game. I mean, second ever time playing Total War. Never mind second time ever playing Total War Warhammer or anything like that. It was their second time ever playing a Total War battle, and they won the free-for-all, and that was even with people that were experienced in the game. And so it's much more approachable. It's not as scary as the standard 1v1, which is where most people will go probably for their super competitive, like I must be the best style of gameplay. The free-for-all seems more a mosh pit of fun compared to the standard multiplayer battles, which is much more my thing. A mosh pit of fun versus competitive. I'll always go for the mosh pit of fun. The last thing I wanted to talk about though today is, with all these interviewers and etc being brought to CA to try out the game, it sounds like the game is almost ready to be released, which is awesome. Before I was expecting September, but I could easily see it coming out July or August now. Before I was sort of hoping September, and that was sort of my most optimistic. I was like, September sounds like a good time. That's my optimistic guess. But with all this stuff that's going on, I really doubt it's going to be June, because we would have heard something by now. But I actually think it is possible. July, I'm still, we probably would have heard something by now, and it's starting to get close for them not having enough time to show us lots of hype-inducing videos about each faction, announce Skaven officially, yada yada yada, which makes me think August is the prime bet. I'm actually thinking, I'm doubting it's going to be much later than August now, just because of how much the media attention sort of was, unless they find a really bad bug or glitch or something and they're going to have to spend a while patching it out before they release the game. I really doubt we're going to see it past September now. August would be my main guess, my prime sort of candidate, my educated guess. July is my sort of, oh my god, that'd be really awesome, please, 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 please. And June, I really doubt it, because we'd have to be getting like a video every second day for them to hype and get everything out. We would have probably have heard something by now, and we would have probably have heard something for July. But August, yeah, seems likely, especially with all the attention. September, yeah. After September, I doubt it's going to be that late anymore. So yes, there we have it. There is quite a lot of articles. You might want to go and read through them all. I didn't notice anything gloatingly obvious information-wise. There was a couple of descriptions of some of the battles, the quest battles type stuff. The most obvious thing I can remember striking me is actually a new mechanic where in one of the quest battles the lizardmen had the ability at certain stages to summon a feral unit of cold ones just off the side of the map to come charging in, which I thought was quite nice and quite interesting. But most of the mechanics seem to be pretty similar. I did see the term, well, how's it worded? It was gatehouse battles, or it was sort of like entrance to cities type battles, and I was sort of wondering, I was like, is that a new battle type, or are they just describing the quest battles? I was like, So I can't wait to see more information on that. If it is a new battle type, maybe there is some larger cities have multiple stages to them. Like there's this battle to get past this initial sort of gatehouse drawbridge large area, which was the sort of choke point battles I was talking about before, when we were talking about the quest battle we've seen in that cinematic trailer. I was like, could that be a new type of battle? I know I'm just wishlisting here, but I remember talking specifically about that last time. It was a wee wish list I had, and I was like, that seems to point in that direction, but it's still a wish list. But there seems to be a little bit more sort of hinting at that now, because it was sort of described in one of these articles. I can't remember which one now. It was just describing the battle type, and it might have just been, once again, a quest battle, but it would be awesome if it was an actual new battle type. So yes, I've rabbited on slightly longer than I thought I would. Hope you've all enjoyed this. Join me all next time. Bye-bye.